Hi. Um, so it is February 13th of 2023, and I had this idea of doing a vlog throughout this entire dissertation journey. And so the original thought was I was going to do a daily entry, and then I kind of second guessed that because I thought that would have been way too much and I probably would have been really redundant. So then I was thinking about doing a monthly entry, and I didn't really think that would be worthwhile either. So I kind of settled on every term, do a check in and post this up on my professional YouTube channel just to give folks an opportunity to understand the process a little bit, and also give myself a space to sort of vent. So semester one of dissertation has completed. My dissertation chair methodologist, that was all settled prior to. I passed my courses. Everything's going according to plan. I was ahead of the game, so I wrote up my prospectus before this semester even started. And I actually took a trip to India in the beginning of this semester, so I missed out on like a week and a half of school. But I submitted my prospectus before I left. And within a month, my prospectus was approved. There were very minor edits that I had to do to it. I'm doing a very unique approach as well. I'm doing an autoethnographic study. Therefore, I am the data, essentially. I'm just going to use first person and speak to my story, essentially. And I'm going to embed myself in the research. Prospectus was approved within a month. I had really good feedback from Dr. Patton, Dr. Letrino. I'm super grateful for them. And they gave a lot of really good insight with regards to what needs to be tweaked a little bit. I did also meet with Dr. Patton in his biweekly meetings just to check in. And he wanted a list of all of my headings for the proposal and however far I've written so far. So I submitted that to him and Dr. Letrino, and then I've also saved a draft of my dissertation up until this point. And so what I've completed so far is the proposal, the premise, the prospectus, and I started writing on chapter 2, basically. Chapter 2 right now at this juncture on February 13th of 23, I'm at page 52, I think, of work that I'm actually proud of. That means it's edited, it reads well, it transitions, it's flowing nicely. The entire manuscript that I have so far written is 127 pages, I think. So from page 52 to 127, it's stacked literature that I have found, that I've broken down into specific like groupings, if you will, like under those specific headings that fit. And my plan is to slowly work through, or as fast as I can, work through each one of those subheadings, and weave in the material and the research and tie it into my intended research topic. So that's where I'm at right now. How's this process been? Prospectus, I thought was straightforward. I didn't think there was any issues with that. Getting through internship and balancing out internship while writing. Meanwhile, in real life, I have 2 full-time jobs. I teach 4 classes with 30 students each in each class. I supervise like a handful of people, and then I carry a small caseload. And I have 2 kids, and we just settled on a house, and we're going to be moving soon. In the midst of all of that, we also moved from Arizona to Pennsylvania. So like, it's been hectic. I'll just put it that way. So balancing has very much felt like juggling everything at the same time and trying not to drop anything. And I'm human. I have dropped a few things. At one of my full-time jobs, I dropped a case that went to the medical director, and that it was just a really embarrassing situation, essentially. That all blew over. Still good, still got the job. My second full-time job has been coasting, no big issues there. Teaching, it's been hard to balance grading in the midst of all of this. Um, and then mentoring and supervising and managing has been honestly a juggling act. Personally, I've been struggling with feeling like I'm losing myself in the literature. I have been finding myself really forcing literature to fit my prerogative for my dissertation, and balancing that out has been really challenging because there are some aspects of some literature that just genuinely do not fit my intended research. So figuring out how to like be kind to myself and reel that back in has been really challenging. I also have signed on with a dissertation coach. I think being able to have that open dialogue on a consistent basis. So I've been meeting with this dissertation coach Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. So 5 days of the week, for 2 hours each day, just to voice what I'm trying to do, what literature I found, what my original idea is, and how it relates to what I'm about to engage in for chapter 4. That dialogue has been extremely helpful in organization, solidifying my plan, and then restructuring how I'm going about chapter 2. So it's been great. Along the lines of along with that, I've also started couples counseling, just because this is taking up a lot of my life. And I feel like my wife and I feel as though uh, because this is taking me away so much, our relationship is struggling a little bit as far as staying connected. And I also am saturated in literature at this point where even in the midst of having a conversation with my partner, my kids, I tend to zone out and start thinking about literature and how it can apply and how I'm going to weave specific points in chapter 4 to chapter 2 and be able to speak about my experience and all. So that part is also very challenging. The other thing that's been really pressing on me is I'm using previous whistleblowing experience as the center and core of my dissertation. And so as I'm gradually getting to that place of writing about myself, my experience as data, I'm starting to feeling like stored trauma is coming back up, because it was an extremely turbulent time in my life. It was extremely scary. And, I'm not one to love to be getting in trouble like no one else is probably. But the limelight and the attention and the turbulence of it all and the cost of it all is starting to creep back up. And, the general fear of it all is creeping back up. So I'm engaging in one-on-one therapy starting this Friday, just to make sure I don't absolutely fall apart throughout this process. The other thing that's come up recently has been throughout this whistleblowing, I have been selective with what I share with my partner, with my family, because I am one of those people that never wants to burden anyone else, and I'd rather take it on myself. And that feels better to me than the feeling I would get if I put that on to somebody else. And so with that said, there have been instances where I'm catching myself that I didn't disclose, going to meet with a lawyer to my wife or to my parents or to anyone really. I just went and did it. There are other specific events that occurred that were extremely traumatic that I didn't share with anyone. And so now those things are kind of coming up. So I do feel a little bit like a liar to my family. And it was evasive, but for me, again, like I wanted happy wife, happy life. I didn't want to burden anyone else around me. So there is this voided guilt that I'm feeling, um, because I was just trying to navigate this space that I've never been in before. Um, and, today I spoke to my wife about feeling like a liar. And most of the things that I said happened that I wasn't forthright with, she already had knowledge of. So battling that internal strife um, has been very confusing. Um, so yeah, overall the process has been exhausting, um, and there's a lot of guilt with regards to the sacrifice that I'm making and the time that I'm losing with my kids and my family. And I also feel like I want my brain back. Like I want my dynamics back with my family. I want to be there for my kids to be able to hang out and play, whatever they want to play, really, so like overall, it's been a grueling process, and it's been confusing. It's been very confusing, not only from a place emotionally and mentally for myself, but being able to look at all the literature that's out there, structure it and frame it in a way that will land chapter 4, like my experience, and be aligned, has been also really confusing. And then sorting through the information that's already out there to try and figure out, does this fit into my puzzle or not, has been really confusing. And so I think that's honestly where I'm at right now. I'm exhausted, and everyone's aware, and my mental health is sacrificed in this process, and my mind, body, soul, body, everything is completely inundated and invested in this writing. And I hope it's worth it. I hope at the end of it, it's worth it. But like I said before, like my nuclear family is very much aware of the sacrifice that's being made. And I feel guilty of choosing to make the sacrifice for the greater good. So there is a bit of martyrdom complex happening. And I think that's where I'm at right now. I think that's everything. If I keep going, it'll probably be redundant, but I'm going to be starting next semester in like 2.5 weeks-ish, officially. So I'll be in Dissertation 2. Dr. Patton made it clear that I won't be able to finish in less than 4 semesters. So my anticipated finish date is December 23rd. Dr. Patton also made mention that I'm moving incredibly fast through this process. Having 52 pages written up at this point after Dissertation 1 is not normal, I guess, or whatever. So Dr. Patton actually encouraged me to slow down. I'm trying to slow down, but I can't because I just want to finish at this point. And my aim for next term is to have chapter 2 completely done, refined, exactly where I want it to be, and I'm going to submit it next term. Dr. Patton also made mention that once I submit everything, if everything gets approved, I could technically just sit and wait at that point. But my mission is to get through chapters 1 through 5 as soon as possible. And if that means rushing it now so I can just chill out later, I'll do that. But again, I'm going with the process. I'll submit whatever I need to submit whenever I can submit it, and then just see how it goes from there. So at this juncture, passed all my courses. I'm officially done with classwork. And now all I have to do is write the dissertation. Once I get through IRB and defend it, I'm technically ABD. So it's kind of a race to get to that point, because I also want to leave some of my current employers and start teaching full-time. And I just applied for one teaching role at Cabrini University. It's a local university over here in Pennsylvania. So hopefully, if all goes well, I'll land that job, be able to leave insurance, because managed care is not a place that I want to be anymore. In fact, it's going to be the subject of my next project, I think. But for right now, I just can't think about that. I just need to get through this process. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now, February 13th of 23. And I will check in again after this next term, Dissertation 2. All right, take care.